Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tent of Abraham. I'm Tamir Kreisman from Israel, and this is Parashat Re'eh. Look at me. Deuteronomy 11:26 to 16:17. It's called, What Do You See? So, look at me. What do you see? Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom, bracha veklala. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. Now, it's surprising and scary how much the English is off here. I know we discuss this every single week, every single time, but it's all about the words, the letters, the meaning, the sequences. This is God's code right here. And many have asked me what books you should get in order to better understand Judaism. Well, to better understand Judaism, you need to learn Hebrew. So I'm going to say this now. Go to rosettastone.com and buy the Hebrew program. It's anywhere between $6 and $12 a month. No, I'm not getting any kind of, anything from endorsing this site. I just know it's a good one, that's all. And you need it. So the basic Hebrew, as we discussed, is called the Pshat, which means the simple. Now, this is what everything in the Torah is based on the letters and the words. You lose 99.999% of the meaning of everything if you don't read it and understand it in Hebrew. The English or any other language changes the meaning entirely. So, if you're going to have two books, okay, have a Tanakh, and I would say have a Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, all right? It's Art Scroll is good for that one in particular. Hebrew, as we discussed again, is the only holy tongue of God, the language which God used to create all things. It's not Greek, Latin, or English, but of course you all know this. So again, I say, invest in yourself and in your spiritual journey. It'll be well worth it. And so, look at me. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha veklala. Look at me. What do you see? For I myself personally, the man Moses, the Rabbi, Moshe Rabbeinu, the Lord's anointed, the most humble man to have ever lived, the only man to speak to God face to face, the one who bested archangels for God's Torah, the one who brought you said Torah. Look at me. Re'eh anochi. I am the one who teaches you the ways of the Lord so you may live. The one who intercedes for you day by day, moment by moment, so that you don't die. The one who stands between you and the wrath of God when you clearly deserve what's coming to you. Look at me. I'm the one who has been given the secrets of the universe. I live here, and yet I'm constantly over there. I've been chosen by God to take you out of Egypt. I am the Lord's right hand. I have no fear. I have no doubts. Look at me. I am the one who lives for you. And I am the one who is about to die for you. Look at me. Use the eyes of your heart. Look at me. Are you looking? Now what do you see? Do you see an old man at the end of his days? Do you see your leader about to part ways? When you look at me, what do you see? When you look at what I've done and what I've been through, I need you to understand, my beloveds, everything I did was for you. I was perfectly happy shepherding my father-in-law's flock. I had a wife, I had kids. I even stutter when I talk. Then behold, there was this burning bush, and of course, I had to go look. Next thing I know, God appears to me, not in a cloud, a mountain, or a tree, just in the bush. Then he says, hey, go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. I said, God, he won't do it. And God said, don't worry, son. I'll put on a really good show. If you had any idea of the things that I've seen, the places that I've been to, your faces would gleam, just like mine. But you haven't seen my face since I came down the mountain. I bring you water from heaven, and you settle for a water fountain. If these are my last moments, my beloved children, then I beseech you, follow the Lord and all his ways, and he will never leave you. So when you cross over the Jordan, please never forget this verse. Behold, I am sets before you today a blessing and a curse. Well, that just happened. So Moses understood that God would no longer appear to the children of Israel in the land as he did when they were in the wilderness. This will be a different kind of relationship, one that requires such faith and such trust. Blessed are those who do not see and believe, correct? This was terrifying for them. Try and understand where these children were. God said himself that the relationship he had with them in the wilderness would change completely. They're all grown up and they're all grown up now. That's it. It's time to leave. It's time to move on. For I am who I am and I will be who I will be. So who is he? Anochi. The Hebrew word for me is actually ani. But the word anochi, myself, it's very personal. It's used throughout the Tanakh when one speaks of themselves, but it has a very, very personal connotation. So depending on the context, who's speaking, who they're speaking to, and what they're saying can change the general understanding of this simple word. Or is it the word itself that changes everything? When God introduced himself to Moses in Exodus 3:6, he said, Vayomer Anochi, Elohei Avicha, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. And he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Vayomer Moshe, El HaElohim, Mi Anochi, Ki elech el Paro, V'chi otzi et bnei Yisrael mitzrayim. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and I should take the children of Israel out of Egypt? Who am I? Vayomer, and God answered, Vayomer ki eheye imach, v'ze lecha ha'ot ki anochi shelachticha. And he said, for I will be with you, and this is the sign for you that it was I who sent you. So this can be understood in the basic Hebrew that I will be with you. But when we keep reading a few more verses over here in Exodus, the word eheye, I will be, it takes on a whole new meaning. Vayomer Moshe, this is verse 13. Vayomer Moshe el ha'Elohim, hine anochi. Again, we see anochi, 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 back and forth. Hine anochi ba el bnei Yisrael, ve'amarti lahem, Elohei avotechem shalchani elechem, ve'amru li, ma shmo, ma omar lahem. And Moses said to God, behold, I come to the children of Israel, and I say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. And they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? So, what is his name? Vayomer Elohim el Moshe, eheye asher eheye. Vayomer ko tomar libnei Yisrael, eheye shalchani elechem. God said to Moses, eheye asher eheye, I will be what I will be. And he said, so shall you say to the children of Israel, eheye, I will be, has sent you. What's your name? To the children of Israel, I will be. Eheye imach, I will be with you. Eheye shalchani elechem, I will be, has sent me to you. I have no idea how many people confuse the I will be what I will be with I am what I am. Do you know what you're saying? I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Because that's where that came from. At least try to not quote Popeye while attempting to sound somewhat, knowledgeable. So what's the difference between Anochi, I am, and Eheye, I will be, in relation to God? It's God's relation to us based on our relation to him at any and every given moment. And it's a personal thing too. So it's collectively as a nation and to him personally. At this very moment, from all the way back then to now and to forever. Anochi Adonai Elohecha, asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeit avadim. I am the Lord your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Exodus 20, verse 2. This is the first command of the 10 commandments. Anochi Adonai Elohecha. And in the future, should you follow my commandments, I will be, Eheye Elohecha, I will be your God. But if you don't, I will be a snare to you. I will be your enemy. You understand? So in this context, What is Moses telling the people? Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. Re'eh anochi, look at me. Noten lifnechem hayom bracha v'klala. What is re'eh anochi? I want you all to look at me, at who I am. Noten lifnechem, I place a timeless gift before you. Hayom, today, as in today yesterday, today on this day, and today tomorrow. Bracha, the blessing that you will heed the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, verse 27 and verse 28. Uklala, and the curse, if you will not heed the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn away from the way I commanded you this day, yesterday and tomorrow, every single day, to follow other gods which you did not know. But you know God, and God knows you intimately and personally. You know his ways, Moses is telling the children. You know his do's, you know his do-nots, his likes and his dislikes. You know what makes him happy, you know what makes him angry. You know God. If you want to know God better, follow his commandments, and then you will actually see him. How will you see him? Where will you see him? Re'eh anochi, look at me. Let's take an audience poll, shall we? You don't have to raise hands. Just everyone answer this question within inside themselves. Does it seem like our God does not live or exist according to his own standards? Does it seem like our God would say, do what I say and not what I do? Is our God a God who does what he says and says what he does? Is our God the God whose words and actions are one and the same? Does our God know his children? Do his children know their God? Look at me. Exodus 33. Just listen now. Listen. Moses comes to God over here. And now, and I know we've discussed this, but this is relevant for this context. And now, if I have indeed found favor in your eyes, pray let me know your ways, so that I may know you, so that I may find favor in your eyes. And consider that this nation is your people. What did Moses just say here? If I know your ways, that is how I might find favor in your eyes. So he says, God answered, my presence will go with you and I will give you rest. And he said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not take us up from here. For how then will it be known that I have found favor in your eyes, I and your people, your people? It is not in that you will go with us. Then I and your people will be distinguished from every other nation on the face of the earth. And the Lord said to Moses, even this thing that you have spoken, I will do. For you I have found favor. You understand? You have found favor in my eyes, and I have known you by name. Said the creator of the universe to the man who wanted nothing more than to know him by knowing his ways. How do you know God? By knowing his ways. Because it's the only way. The only way. And he said, show me now your glory. He said, I will let all my goodness pass before you. I will proclaim the name of the Lord before you. And I will favor who I wish to favor, and I will have compassion when and who I wish to have compassion. And he said, you will not be able to see my face, for man shall not see me and live. Now, God wasn't denying Moses. What he was saying is, you cannot be a physical being and get what's going on for reals. Otherwise, you would be dead. When you are dead, when you are no longer part of this physical world, you come with me and it's all good. But while you're still alive, you can't. And the Lord said, behold, there is a place with me, and you shall stand on the rock. And it shall be that when my glory passes by, I will place you into the cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand, and you will see my back, but my face you shall not see. So, what did Moses see? Well, he definitely saw something, right? So, I'm going to tell you what he saw. And I'm going to present to you an incredible prayer in the process, because we are here to learn something new after all. Every Shabbat, after Chazarat HaShatz, after the Amidah prayer, the first one, not Musaf, and before we bring out the Torah, okay, this is when this prayer takes place. A small child is brought up to the bima, to the podium, and we make it a point that they are generally under 13 years of age, under the age of mitzvot, because we all know that the greatest of men cannot come close to the innocence of a child who has no sin upon their heads. When I became bar mitzvah and I was 13 years old and I read the Torah, towards the end, when my father received an aliyah, he said, what did he say? Baruch sheptarani me'onsho shel zeh. Blessed is he who has taken away the sin of this one. In other words, up until 13 years old, everything that I do is on my father's head. But once I become 13 years old, now I'm a man, now all the Torah falls on my shoulders. If I sin, it's on me. So up till 13 years old, children are innocent. And also in Jewish communities, let's say if a great rabbi is sick or something like that, obviously everybody prays for his well-being. But what they do is they gather children, innocent children, to pray for him, because their prayer, it really reaches places. So the child walks up and steps on the podium and begins to sing the song that is called Anim Zamirot, a soothing song, also known as Shir HaKavod, the song of glory. Now the child leads the congregation. As the young boy sings one verse, the crowd sings the next, and so on and so forth. This is how it goes till the end. There are so many telling verses in this song, one in particular regarding what Moses saw. I'm going to give you a whole thing. However, you must hear this, because I'm positive it'll not only give you a good, strong tug on your heartstrings, but your eyes are going to be open to things that you might have never seen before. So again, listen up. The child walks up to the podium. The ark is open. The congregation all rise. And he says, soothing songs and poems I weave because my soul longs for you. And the congregation replies, my soul desires the shadow of your hand, to know every one of your secrets. Each time I speak of your glory, my heart longs for your love. Therefore I will speak about you, about your glories. Your name I shall honor with love songs. I'm going, every line is a back and forth, back and forth. Kid goes now. I'll tell of your glory, though I have never seen you. I'll give people images for you and names for you, but I do not even know you. By the hand of your prophets, or through private counsel with your worshipers, you provided images of the beauty and the glory of your power. They named your powerful deeds, your greatness, your strength. They imagined you, but not as you really are. They tried to describe you according to your deeds. They made parables about you and provided a myriad of visions of you. Yet here you are, one in all the different forms. They envisioned you as an old man and as a young man. The hair on your head, that as if a man satisfied in days, or just at his dawn. Old on the day of judgment, and young at the battlefront, a man of war with many hands. You wear salvation as a hat. Salvation is yours, exhibited by your holy right arm. His curls are as black as a downpour at night, but only light reflects in the drops. He will be glorified through me. He wants me. He is the crown of my desire. Fine pure gold is in my image for his head. On his forehead, his glorious holy name is engraved. With grace, honor, and a magnificent desire, his people wreath him with a crown. The locks of his hair are like a youth's. They are mounds of black curls. A garden of justice is his greatest desire. It rises above his greatest joy. When he holds his treasured people as a crown in his head, we are like a royal turban, a sign of his desire. He carries us, each of us with a crown. He values us. He honors us. He adorns himself for me, and I adorn myself for him. Listen. He is close to me when I call. Bright and red. His garment is red. He makes his way on the path from Edom. This is Isaiah 63. Now here it comes. He showed the tefillin knot that he was wearing at the base of the back of his head to his humble one, Moses, an image of Adonai seen with his own eyes. He accepts his people, adorning the humble and being adorned by them as he dwells among their praises. Your chief word is truth. You've called it out since the beginning. In each generation, people interpret you and find meaning. I humbly place before you this noise, my song, so that my joy will draw near to you. May my praise be a crown for your head, my prayers be accepted like incense. May the poor person's song be dear to you, like the songs that were offered with the sacrifices. May my blessings rise up to you, the sustainer, the one who stirs up, giving birth to justice like water from a well. Please nod to acknowledge my blessing. Take it for yourself as you took from the incense of old. I hope that these words were sweet. They came out of my longing for you. He who verbalizes God's strengths will voice his own glory. The author of this incredible song is Rabbi Yehuda HaHasid. He's a distant cousin. It was written in the 11th century, and so every verse in this song, first the child sings it, and then the congregation replies. Don't worry about it. I'll put the song in the description so you can all have it. So the verse, Kesher tefillin, tefillin, Kesher, the knot of the tefillin, Her'a, Re'e Anochi, has Her'a le'anav. Anav is humble. Einav is eyes. Her'a le'anav, to the humble one. Tmunat Adonai, the image of God. Leneged, opposing. Einav, his eyes. He showed the tefillin knot to his humble one, Moses, an image of Adonai seen with his own eyes. To which the congregation would then reply, he accepts his people adorning the humble and being adorned by them as he dwells among their praises. Goes back and forth. So, what did Moses see? Anything? No. The verse says, you will see my back, right? In Exodus 33. And the verse in the song says that he saw on the back of God's head the knot of the tefillin. Now, I'm very well aware of the fact that God has no image. Okay? No body. He's the invisible God. He's the God of spirits. In fact, he reminds us this numerous times, especially after receiving the Ten Commandments and the tablets and everything. He says, remember, you did not see any image of me, no picture, no nothing. Stop building them statues, kids. As I am sure, even more so, that our sages and Rabbi Yehuda HaHasid are aware well of this fact. But we're not speaking of a literal physical terms over here that exist within this space-time continuum, now are we? Remember how many times we discussed what Moses built on earth was a physical interpretation of what he actually saw in heaven? He saw heavenly things that did not exist on earth. Like the building of the Mishkan, for instance, or later on when Solomon built the temple. that could have only been done by actually understanding the heavenly blueprints. That's also another reason God gave him the wisdom that he did to Solomon. We also mentioned that Solomon's wisdom was almost equal to Moses' prophecy. So what Moses saw, because God opened his eyes, God gave Solomon that wisdom in order that he should lead the way he did and that he should build the temple. They hit the same point from different angles, according to the will of God. So now, think about this. If Moses saw the heavenly temple, the tabernacle, and the throne of God, which he did, and we were given the means to manifest it here on earth, what do you think the commandments are? Every single mitzvah that God gave in the Torah to us is something that exists in the heavenly realm. And every time we perform these commands in the physical, we draw from the spirit which already exists, and then it is we who shape the heavens, again, according to the will of God and his design. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Now, across the board, throughout the entire Pardes, Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. Did we learn about this? I think we learned about this, right? The Pshat, as we said in the beginning of the video, is the plain text, the Pashut. The Remez are the hints. The Drash is a Midrash. These are deeper learnings and another different viewpoints based on the Torah. And then we have the Sod, the hidden secrets, the wonders. So according, throughout the entire Pardes, it is of one consensus that indeed it was the knot of tefillin that Moses saw on the back of God's head. Now again, you're scratching your head. How could there say God doesn't have a head? Incidentally, if you literally translate the Pshat, the Remez, the Drash, and the Sod, those words to English in this exact order that it is presented, you get the phrase, a simple hint demands a secret. I was just Googling it to translate it the best, and this is a simple hint demands a secret. And a simple hint, this is where it starts. In other words, if you want that secret, you have to start with the simple, the Pshat, the Hebrew. Rosetta Stone. They should be paying me for this. Since we just brought forth the song of praise of Rabbi Yehuda, the HaHasid, I thought it was appropriate to bring forth some wisdom from the Hasidut movement regarding Exodus 33:23. So this one is from Kedushat Levi. You will see my back, but my face is not visible to any creature. In addition to the fact that, of course, God's back is also invisible, as he is not corporal, the author quotes two verses from Job and Proverbs, respectively, which require further clarification. We read in Proverbs 15:20, Ben Chacham Yisamach Av, a wise son causes joy to the father. We also read in Job 28:14, V'achochma me'ayin timatzeh, but where does wisdom come from? We know that the most important ingredient of wisdom is acquired by man when he looks with his mental eye at the concept of ein, i.e. nothingness, from which the perceptible phenomena of the universe came into existence, emanated. That's where it came from nothingness. When man trains himself to cleave ever more to the roots of his life, what are the roots of his life? I.e. the Creator. This aspect is known as Etzel Haboreh, being next to the Creator. Etzel is with, Haboreh, the Creator, who himself is garbed in a garment, i.e. a protective shield that prevents the powerful rays of light emanating from him, harming those exposed to this. Stay with me now. The prophet Isaiah in 23:18 alludes to this when he says, Ulemachaseh atik yomin, dressed in primeval, meaning the prehistoric origin garments. Now we can also, by the way, I'm just saying, you can also find this language in Daniel regarding King Mashiach, when he was brought before Atik Yomin, the Ancient of Days. That's God, the Creator. Compare Talmud Masechet Psachim 119. This is also the meaning of the allusion in the Talmud Chagigah 7 that Israel provides God with his parnasa, livelihood, basing itself on the word levush, being used in the context so that chokhmah, wisdom, in many instances refers to the ol chozer, the reflective light. Ol is light, chozer is coming back, reflective light, emanating from Israel in response to God's generosity, as it requires chokhmah, wisdom, or ingenuity, for the original light beamed at his creatures by God to be aimed back accurately at its source. This is also referred to by the way of allusion in Job 33:32, Ve'e'alpech chokhmah, I shall teach you wisdom. Now the letters Aleph, Lamed Pei, Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph also represents the Aluf, God. When the Aleph Lamed Pei, is reversed, we get Pele. What is Pele? Miracle, wonder, something supernatural, as in the word niflaot, and hint at the fact that the ability to reattach oneself to the original source that has given one life is something beyond man's innate ability and cannot be achieved without direct divine intervention. The process by which this is achieved is known as tenu'ah, normally translated as motion, constant motion, meaning in this context that God sets in motion some part of the word tenu'ah. Now, I understand that this definitely was an earful and definitely was a mouthful. To simplify everything that I just read, it is God who honors us. We even actually read this in the song. He adorns us with the crown, we adorn him with the crown. Our deeds to him are like a covering for him, a robe for him. What did we say about the Torah last week? Or was it 2 weeks ago? That could it be that we are called to protect that which is called to protect us? Yeah. So, God honors us. How does he honor us? He gave us. Natan lanu et Torah. Matana, a gift. He gave us the Torah and the commands therein, the statutes, the ordinances, which we clearly perceive as light. This is him shining the light onto us. And what do we do in return? In return, when we fulfill the Torah and the commands and the statutes and the ordinances therein, we honor God right back with the very same stuff that he honors us. Meaning, the only way to truly be the light is to receive the light. And when one receives the light, automatically and simultaneously, the light shines back to its source, just like a mirror. So, why do you think our guy begins this interpretation with Proverbs 15:20, where it says, Ben chacham yisamach av, a wise son causes joy to the father? May I share with you what comes to mind? Okay, I'm connecting the dots. This is what came to mind when I was reading this, specifically in regards to what Moses saw. Genesis 22:7. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham aviv, Vayomer avi, Vayomer hineni bni. And Isaac spoke to Abraham his father, and he said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. Isaac was a carbon copy of Abraham in the physical sense. So when they were going up there to the mountain, Abraham was 137, and Isaac was like a 37-year-old Abraham. Abraham was looking at his younger self over there. Same. But at that moment, when the son looked at his father, and the father looked right back at his son, they were one mind, one purpose, one mission. It couldn't have worked any other way. Isaac had to know exactly what was going on for him to be acceptable as a sacrifice to God. It wasn't only Abraham, it was Abraham and Isaac. It's called the binding of Isaac, not necessarily the test of Abraham. They're together as one. So Abraham saw himself in Isaac as Isaac saw himself in Abraham. And when that happened, that's when they went forward. And what was so special about Abraham? What was so special about this guy? That God created the world according to him, to suit him, to fit his needs. What were Abraham's needs? Genesis 26. Fast forward, Abraham passes away. Isaac is thinking about leaving Israel because there's a famine in the land. And there was a famine in the land aside from the first famine that had been in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech, the king of the Philistines, in Gerar. And the Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Dwell in the land that I will tell you. Sojourn in this land," meaning stay in Israel, "and I will be with you, ve'eheye imach, and I will bless you, for to you and your seed I give all these lands, everything, and I will establish the oath that I swore to who? Abraham, your father. And I will multiply your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I will give your seed all these lands, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your seed, because," listen up, "Ekev asher shama Avraham bekoli, vayishmor mishmorti mitzvotai chukotai v'torotai." Because Abraham hearkened to my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my instructions. Does this remind us of something? Last week's Parsha teaching, maybe? V'haya ekev tishme'un et hamishpatim haele, and it will be because you will heed these. Because Abraham hearkened my voice. I totally could have put it in last week. I totally missed it, but I got it now, which is fine because it's relevant. Because Abraham hearkened to my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my instructions, I will multiply your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I will give your seed all these lands, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your seed. That's right, kids. Abraham kept the Torah even before the Torah was officially given. How is that possible? I'll give you a hint. Isaiah 41:8. "Ve'ata Yisrael avdi Yaakov asher becharticha, zera Avraham ohavi." But you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, who loved me. God himself said that Abraham loved him. As we discussed last week, the only way for us to say that we love anybody, let alone God, is to know their ways. What did we just discuss? That Moses asked of God, "If I have indeed found favor in your eyes, pray, let me know your ways, so that I may know you, so that I may find favor in your eyes." And when was this complete? When God showed him the back of his head, and he saw the knot of the tefillin, which spells out the letter Dalet, which means and represents a door. A door in Hebrew is Delet. Delet, Dalet. It's spelled exactly the same way. So, what did Moses see when God showed him the knot of the tefillin, the doorway? He saw the doorway to God from the back to the front, as God was looking at Moses' tefillin from the back of his head to the front. And on and on and on it goes. You know those images where you go inside the image and then you're inside and it's looking at the image and it continues forever and ever and ever? That's what was happening here. Moses saw unto God, God saw unto Moses. And it kept on going on and on. God and Moses were in perfect sync at that moment. God said, "Hey, you have definitely found favor in my eyes." Because Moses was emulating God, he became the image of God. There is your image. As did Isaac become completely one in mind, body, and spirit with his father Abraham. Is this not obvious? Was this not the plan all along, ever since the beginning? And what is the beginning if not Genesis 1, baby? And God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Here's the image of God. Genesis 1, never forget who you are. Chapter 14:1, in Deuteronomy, you are the sons of the Lord. Banim atem la'Adonai Elohechem. You shall neither cut yourselves nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. It was a pagan tradition. They would shave their heads over here and they would do whatever, in between their eyes. These were pagan traditions, and these are God's commands. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for you ornaments between your eyes. By By the way, it's actually up here. Officially, it's not here on your forehead, it's over here. The box of the tefillin has to end where your hairline ends. And if you don't have hair here anymore, it's where your hairline used to be. It's not over here. And just so you understand, halachically speaking, even if you put on tefillin, but your tefillin is off to the side, it does not count as if you put on tefillin. And it's not like, oh, well, it's a thought that counts. No, if you're already going to do it, you have to do it right. It's like connecting a plug. It actually connects you directly to God. So it's like, here's the thing, and you miss it. It's not connected, so there's nothing you could do. You don't get that connection over there. It's just how it is. I'm letting you know. In any case, you bind it on your arm, a sign between your eyes, and then you do this. For you are a holy people to the Lord. This is back to 14:2 in our parsha. Ki am kadosh ata Adonai Elohecha, ubecha bachar Adonai liot lo le'am sgula mikol ha'amim asher al pnei ha'adama. For you are holy people to the Lord, your God, and the Lord has chosen you to be a treasured people for him out of all the nations that are upon the earth. And it is because he chose you that you must hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your means. We just read this in the last 4 chapters. And these words which I command you on this day shall be put upon your heart, and you shall teach them to your sons and speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk on your way and when you lie down and when you rise up. And that's why we say Shema twice, in the morning and at night. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for ornaments between your eyes, and you shall inscribe them upon your doorposts, like a mezuzah, on your house and upon your gates. Now that we have all that, how about those questions from earlier? Is our God a God who does what he says and says what he does? Yes, he is. Is our God the God whose words and actions are one and the same? Yes, they are. Does our God know his children? Mm-hmm. Do his children know their God? Do we have answers yet? Can you see? So again, let me ask you. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. Re'eh anochi. So, when you look at me, what do you see? The answer to this question is, you tell me. And that's this week's teaching. So thank you so much for joining me. It's an honor and privilege every single time. I love this. We're growing exponentially. Thank you all for that. And if you're digging it, of course, please continue to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot. And as always, have a wonderful rest of the week. Have a Shabbat Shalom and a Chodesh Tov. Shabbat and Sunday. Rosh Chodesh Elul. All right. See you next week. Bye-bye now.